Hello students, today we will discuss about the translation product and processes. So the linguistic model for translation since the 50s, many studies adopting a variety of different approaches and have tried to categorize what happens in translation and what are the themes and background. But the two most important are Vinay and Dominant taxonomy in comparative stylists of French and English, which has been mentioned in 1958 to 1955. And second is Catford's linguistic approach and the concept of translation shift. So the translation shift we will discuss in another video, but right now we will discuss about these two models, Vinay and Catford. So the Vinay and Doubles model carried out the comparative analysis of pre-existing translations and identify a series of strategies, overall orientation of the translator and procedure like specific techniques used by the translator. And the two general categories in this model is the direct and oblique translation. So direct translation is what we can define a literal, and oblique translation is what we can define free. And it has also further categorized in seven procedures like borrowing, calc, literal translation, transposition, modulation, equivalence, and adaptation. So the Vinay Doublets model, the strategy of direct translation, like borrowing, taking a word from the source language and maintaining in the text language, computer from like engineering and kimono from Japan, and like abat jour from French, and calc when an expression from the ST means source language can transfer literally into the TT textual language like English, like skyscraper in Italian, gracielo like sky, cielo, scrap, grate, ITA, ferrovia. So these are the different words which can be categorized in different languages, and what is the meaning of the exact word, like in 10, Aziban. And literal translation is translation word for word, means the author prescription for good translation, like it should only be sacrificed when inevitable and only after checking the meaning of that word is fully preserved. So in Vinay Dable's model, the strategy of oblique translation is to be used when literal translation is not possible, like transposition, changing word class without changing meaning, means English, go to swimming, and in Italian, fare una nuotata. Modulation when the textual language TT is rendered from the different point of view of that the source text. English, it is not difficult. In Italian, it's simplest. Equivalence when two languages describe similar situations by different stylistic or structural means in English it rains cats and dogs, and in Italian piove a catinelle. Adaptation, changing the reference when a situation in the SE does not exist in a TC. English, Friday the 13th, ITA Bernardi 17, SPA, Spanish Martyrs 13. So some other techniques exemplified by Vinay Dablet's amplification, in which the textual language uses more word, often because of syntactic expansion. Economy, the opposite of amplification. Less compensation, the textual language compensate for a loss, introducing a gain. Like for example, when in Italian we go from li to tu, and in English this diction does not exist, we compensate. For example, going to from Mr. Green to Peter. And explicitation, like implicit information in the source text, is rendered explicit in the textual language. And generalization, the use of more general word in the TT compared to the one in the source text, like English in cottage cheese, desktop, uh, in Italian formaggio, cottage cheese is formaggio, and in Italian computer. Now the second one is Catford and the translation shift. So we will discuss full video of translation shift in another video. Right now we are just knowing the basic what they have mentioned. So J.C. Catford have given the linguistic theory of translation, and he of the Hiladian Fritzian approach in the analysis of the language as communication operating functionally in context and on different level. So according to this, in translation, Catford differentiates between formal correspondence and textual equivalence. And he later developed by Kohler. So the Catford and the translation shift, it has mentioned one point like a formal correspondence. What is that? In any textual language categories which may be said to occupy as nearly as possible the same place in the system hierarchy of the textual language as the given source language categories occupies in the source language, the more general system based concept between two languages. And textual equivalence is in any TL form, text or portion of a text which is observed on a particular occasion to be equivalent of a given source language form, like text or portion of a text. So it more tied to a particular source text or a transfer text pair. So when these two concepts diverge, we have the translation shift. So he mentioned the translation shift is a departure from formal correspondence in the process of going from the source text to a TT. So it is a shift of level and shift of category. So shift of level, like in example, something which is expressed by grammar in one language and lexis in another. And the shift of category is a structural shift, class shift, rank shift, and intra-system shift. It is also mentioned in this book also, Catford's. So Catford model is an interesting attempt to apply finding to in linguistic to translation, but presents some weaknesses also. So in his study of intra-system shift, he stated that the translation equivalence does not entirely match formal correspondence, but only with a given probability. Nonetheless, he claims that translation equivalence depends on the communicative features such as functions, relevance, situation, and culture, rather than just on the formal linguistic criteria. It's surely interesting from the point of view like of the contemporary approaches to the textual system or the text language. So in the 50s and 60s, scholars started to attempt to draw taxonomies of linguistic changes in source text and translation text pairs. Then Vinay and Dublin model is still valued and applied in various languages, and it was useful to outline a wide range of translation techniques in the literary terms. And Catford related translation equivalence to communicative features such as function, situation, and culture. So I'm giving the references also from various references. You can find out the various methodology, like what they are using in translation and what are the basic deals while dealing with the translation studies. So this is the basic books like the Catford Linguistic Theory of Translation, under Introducing Translation Study and Theory. You can check it on website also. And Vinay and Applet Methodology for Translation. You can check it out. And there is the short format also in the website also. So you can check out that also. So I hope you understand the basic point and the basic references.